Welcome to Module 7. This is the bonus module. This is where we preview Google Apps Script, which is a programming language built inside of Google Sheets. It's a lot of fun to use. I got to tell you, you can do a whole lot of stuff that's just not possible otherwise inside of our spreadsheet. Microsoft Excel's version is called VBA. It's a Visual Basic for applications. Both of these allow our spreadsheets to be extra powerful, more productive, automate a ton of neat stuff. If you hear nothing else here, or if you sign off right now, go over and make sure you're signed up for my absolutely free newsletter called Got Sheet. Links are all over the place in the description below and stuff. It's gotsheet.xyz, completely free. There you'll be able to get my weekly tips and tricks. I'll shoot out all the videos that I do. I have free videos available also on a weekly basis on YouTube. And I've even got some AppScript stuff up there right now that you can go check out. I've done tons of projects with AppScript. You'll also be the first to know when the next course is released, if it has not been released yet, because I'll send that out to my newsletter first, so you'll have first dibs on the AppScript course. Okay, enough of the prelude. Let's get into a spreadsheet again, back into our budget sheet, and let's show you what we're doing. Let's talk about what AppScript is. Up here in the extensions menu, we've got several things that we've never even looked at, including some custom add-ons that I have put in this spreadsheet. But what you will see for sure are add-ons, macros, and AppScript. Click it, and let's go in. Let's go into the matrix here. So this opens up an untitled project, and we can name this whatever we want, sample code, and then it's got a function, my function, with parentheses and curly braces and lines, and what the heck? Okay, this is a code editor. Don't be intimidated. Over here, we've got files, and we can add files. We've got libraries that we can add, and we've got services that we can add. Over here, we've got editor, which is where we currently are, project history, which will show us over in the sidebar what we've actually done, and we can revert back to previous versions if we screw something up. We've got triggers. So these are things that we can add that based on events, we can trigger certain events to happen or certain code to run. Super useful. And then we've got project settings. So here's my settings. Let's go back to the editor. What is this? Well, this is how we write code and take advantage of a lot of built-in functionality way above and beyond the built-in functions to Google Sheets. We're going to do code here in just a second. For right now, let's add a new file. Let's make it a script file. Let's call it macros.js. I knew not to do that, and I did it anyway. We don't have to add the .js. It does that for us. So here is macros.js, and I'm going to say function. This just defines a function. Let's just say amen. Inside parentheses, we're going to put input. This is a parameter that it is going to accept in our spreadsheet. We're going to do curly braces, and now we traditionally put the next stuff on a new line. Anything that we want to have happen is going to occur inside those curly braces. So this just holds all the code, all the instructions, if you will, for our custom function. And what we're going to do, we're not going to do anything fancy. We're just going to return input plus is awesome. And I think you might see what this is going to do. We'll even put an emoji there. You can do Control S to save this, and that little orange dot next to the macros.js goes away. See if it's orange, that means there's unsaved work here. And now we've created a custom function. You remember functions are what we type into our Google Sheets, right? So we write sum, that's a function. If we've used that a bunch in this course. Well, now we have access to the amen function, and we don't have helper text to go along with it. I'll show you how to get that in just a second, but let's just put E1 over here, and hey, is awesome. Well, what if I type in something in E1? Hey, amen is awesome. So if we drag this down and put other awesome things in here, what else is awesome? Oh, East of Eden. That was a great book. What else is awesome? Oh, this is a good one. Hampshire. It's hard to spell that. Hotel New Hampshire. That was a great book. Give me something else that's awesome. Something from recent years. All right, that was an awesome movie. We just saw that the other day. And look, we've got custom functions that actually print out something based on a cell in here. Here's a little bonus tip for you. There's another way to do that. In the data window, we can come down here to named functions. And we can actually add a new function right here, and we'll call this Eamon2 adds is awesome to any text. Argument placeholders. So this is going to be the placeholders, and we're just going to put cell formula definition, right? So this is going to be cell plus is awesome. All right. So now if we define it like this, oh, my head's in the way, isn't it? Now we click next and we can add additional details. Argument description, the cell where the text you want to be augmented lives. That's a terrible description, but okay. Argument example, cell, a cell of text. So this is the helper text that will now create this. All right, so now let's do in B2, let's say Eamon2, and now it's a named function inside of our spreadsheet, and we've got the helper text and everything, a cell of text. Okay, so I'm going to select Eamon over there, and then comma. Oh, that was it. So boom. Oh, check this out. So let's edit this. So it is seeing this plus sign and it's saying we can't do that. In our code, we can do that, but in our formula here, we have to use the ampersand sign. Now we're going to update that, and there we go. Check that out. I'm glad I ran into that error. So right here, this is code, and this lives in our macros GS sample code. And so this code syntax in code editors, we can append things or concatenate things with the plus operator. However, in Google Sheets, the spreadsheet where this named function lives, you actually can't do that in the same way. So we had to use the old ampersand trick here. Now we'll get into a little bit more complicated code coming up next. Okay, now into the really cool stuff. We're going to create our own custom menu up here, and then it's going to run our own custom code in our spreadsheet. Sound pretty cool? Yeah, it's because it is. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to use this special function called onOpen. So that literally means when we open our spreadsheet, we're going to do whatever we put in between these curly braces. And the first thing we're going to put is we're going to grab the UI. So these are all built-in methods. You know how we have the built-in functions to our Google Sheets like sum, if, countif, all that. Well, inside Google Apps Script, and I'll leave links to the documentation, it is massive. There are built-in methods that do things. So inside spreadsheet app.getUI, we actually have this create menu method. So we're going to define our menu by saying we want the menu up there to be Eamon. And we're just going to go with the narcissistic theme like we've been doing. Then we're going to add an item to it called dark mode. And the item dark mode is going to run this code, this function right here. So we're defining two things, the text in the menu and then the function that it runs. And then we're going to actually add that to the UI. So we have to have this part in order to put it up in the user interface. You'll notice that I'm using dot notation. So if I wanted, I could have all of this just on one continuous line up here, but it's kind of common convention to break it up on new lines when you do new methods, just for cleanliness, ease of readability if you're coming back in here later and looking at the code or sharing it with someone to figure out what the heck did this person do when they built this? So it just looks better and is easier to read and edit if we leave it on separate lines. Now we need to deal with this dark mode function. We're calling this function. When we click it, it needs to do something. So what it's going to do, we define in another function and we title that dark mode. We're going to do this same type of notation. We're going to say spreadsheet app.getActive. So that's grabbing the active spreadsheet that we have open. We're going to get the range, and we can do this in a few different ways. We can define the range based on this right here, just A1 through Z1000. This was an easy way to do it. We can put a named range in here by using another similar method. But for this purpose, all you need to know is we're getting a range. So A1 through Z1000, and then .set background. This does what you would think it would. It's going to set the background to this color code. That's a dark color code. and we're going to set the font color to this color code, which is white. Okay, if I click save, then we're going to go back over here to our personal budget, and we don't see anything, do we? Well, that's because it's on open, the very first thing, this function on open. So let's refresh this so that it reopens, and only then will it trigger that, and check it out. There's our custom menu, and there's our custom function. Now, when we run this the first time, this should not alarm you. Authorization required. There's a script attached. It's just warning us that, hey, you're running code. Are you sure you know what you're doing? And yes, we know what we're doing. So we click OK, and it's going to want to authorize this based on one of your Google accounts. It's going to try to scare us again. The app is requesting access to sensitive info. Advanced, you have to click right over here and say advance. It's going to give you the big option back to safety every time. Continue only if you understand the risks and trust the developer. So it's going to show you the developer behind the code. This is us. We trust us. Go to code, and it's going to say unsafe. All that is totally normal. When we create these custom app scripts, it's always going to do this because it's using the built-in methods behind the scenes that could be used maliciously if you were in here doing things that you don't need to be doing. This again tells us, hey, this sample code will see edit create. Delete all your Google Sheets spreadsheets. Now, are we deleting all of our spreadsheets by running this? No. It's just telling us that by accessing these things and allowing the permission of the code to access it, then these things would be possible. There are code methods that delete things. We're not doing any of that today. All we're doing is some good formatting. So we're going to allow this. Now, after all that click through, if we come back up here, we have to run it again. It's going to say running script and then finished, and check it out. We have just done A1 through Z1000 in a dark background with a light white text. Pretty cool. I've got another one of these that I have several different color schemes like Papyrus and Synthwave and everything, and created different combinations to just one click change the color format for all of the cells. Hope this has been a good little sneak peek at what you can do with AppScript. This, trust me, only scratches the surface. Check out my YouTube channel. I have made some pretty complicated projects in there using calendar events, using emails and automation. If you want another further taste of this, make sure that you are signed up for my free email newsletter at gotsheet.xyz. It's .sheet.xyz. I couldn't get the .com. But go over there, grab that. I do free info, free newsletters, and free videos all the time on a weekly basis there. And you'll be the first to know about the AppScript course when it's released. Anyway, I hope you have a great one. Thanks again, and we'll see you on the next one.